My name is Rob Cox. I've been involved now in Muay Thai for about 20, coming up to 25 years. Started in England originally and then moved to Thailand. I first came to Thailand 20 years ago and I've been living here now 10 years. So my journey in Muay Thai started in England, as I said, 25 years ago. I was doing, playing around with a few other martial arts at the time, Wing Chun, that kind of thing. And Muay Thai was just starting to pick off in the UK then. And I found a gym in London, went along to have a look and try it out myself, and I fell in love with it there and then. And from there on, basically I didn't really get involved in any other martial arts. What made me stay in Thailand? Originally I came just to train, because the friends had been out here to train and said, oh, you know, you've got to go, training's so much different. Go and watch the fights at Lumpini. You know, I was a big fan already of watching videos of some of the big name fighters at the time. And then when I came the first time, I kind of fell in love with a lot of other things, like the food, the culture, the kind of Thai way of life. Basically, I'm quite laid back myself, so I fitted right in there. And that was it really, a kind of a journey from then on, you know. When I first came out here, it was kind of like a lot of people call it like the golden era, when Songchai Ratanasoban, who's kind of widely regarded as the #1 promoter in Thailand. He was promoting at Lumpini there, and there was, you know, there was some great names. It was kind of after the period of Samat Payakarun, but you had guys like, you know, big names around the time, Nam Kabur and Gensak, Orono, and there was a real, you know, every time you went to the stadiums when there was a big fight night, the stadiums were packed. There was a real big atmosphere. The fighters were earning like twice as much money back then as they are now, and it was just a great time. I kind of fell in love with it from then, you know, going to see some of the big names, Nam Kabur and Jong Sanan, who's in America now. But over the years, there's been a kind of a steady decline, unfortunately, with a lot of people attribute it to the gamblers having a bit too much hold, the way the fights are played out nowadays. Whereas in the old days, you know, you'd go there and from round one, the fighters are just, you know, be fighting right from the off. A lot more variety of technique than you'll see nowadays. Today, it's kind of got a little bit more clinching influenced. You know, people are complaining that, you know, a guy can go out and just throw great Muay Thai technique for 3 rounds, but then round 4, the clinch guy comes in, throws him down 2 times and wins the fight, you know. So it's kind of like it's kind of distracted a little bit from the way it used to be, you know. It's kind of a catch-22 situation, to be honest, you know, whereas you've got like, without the gamblers, you wouldn't have the atmosphere. Like if you go in a stadium and there's no one betting on a fight, it's flat, everyone's just sitting around. But if they're gambling on a fight, it's very close and there's loads of bets going on. The atmosphere is electric, you know, and it's quite thrilling sometimes to be in a stadium when there's so much going on, you know. But on the same side, there kind of needs to be a pull away from the hold that the gamblers have got on the sport, you know, on the stadiums, because almost like the stadiums are kind of like, oh, we've got to keep the gamblers happy, the promoters as well, we've got to keep the gamblers happy. And so the art's kind of losing a lot of its previous allure, if you know what I mean. Like certain techniques, you know, like if the boxer's coming in and they're throwing spinning back elbows, jumping knees, the gamblers are on their back. Oi, don't waste your time doing that. Strong knees, basic kicks, you know, that's all they want to see. Throw them down, you know. So the art of Muay Thai is kind of getting watered down a little bit due to the gamblers. And also you've got the corruption it brings as well. It kind of makes the sport a little bit dirtier, you know. There's fighters that can get paid to lose, or sometimes there's talk that the referees have been bribed, you know, to help a certain fighter win. Sometimes say a guy's a southpaw, you know, and the crowd will sometimes pick up on it, a southpaw guy, so the referee standing by his left kick or all the time, so he's reluctant to throw that kick, you know, and there's accusations that the referee sometimes can be paid off, or the judges, you know, and it's or not so much a fighter will be paid to dive, but sometimes people will try and get at the fighter in another way, like a pretty girl go and offer a boxer a drink on the day of the fight after he's weighed in, and it's been doped, you know, to make them weak, that kind of thing. There's all sorts of things like that go on that's not doing the image of the sport any good, you know. To an outsider, the Muay Thai scoring can be a lot more complex than in other sports. It's kind of it's under a 10 points must, the same as international boxing. So the winner of the round gets 10 points, the loser gets 9. If there's a knockdown, the guy that gets knocked down only gets 8 points. They tend to score the fight on who finishes the stronger. So you could go out round 1 and 2 and, you know, look awesome, you look like a world beater, but then if you fade out of the fight in round 4 and in round 5 you're just struggling to stay on your feet, then you're going to lose the fight. So there's not a lot of emphasis played on the first 2 rounds. Normally they're scored even. There might be a slight emphasis for another fighter if it's close at the end. The judges are looking for effect as well. So you could go out and throw like 20 kicks and they're like, wow, they're the fastest kicks I've ever seen in my life, you know, but they're just... And then the opponent lands one big kick, bang, that shifts you off balance, then that's going to score more. It's more effective, it seems to have done more damage. Same way, a bigger fighter, if he lands a hard kick, the other smaller guy lands a hard kick, the bigger fighter is going to get the nod because he's bigger, he's seen to be more effective. I mean, it all depends on the fighter. I mean, there's a lot of them will go into training fighters. There's a trend for a lot of guys to go to Macau near Hong Kong. They work as bodyguards there. The gambling industry. There's no kind of. I think it's kind of almost like a weapon-free zone, but there's an opportunity for a lot of guys to go there to work as bodyguards. Some will try and get jobs as trainers abroad. You know, obviously the more successful you are, the more opportunity you are of earning big money abroad. Like now there's a gym in Singapore, Evolve, which is like a mixed martial arts gym. They're paying very good money, but obviously they're only looking for guys that have got big credentials, like former champions, you know. But you know, there's an opportunity now with Muay Thai spreading around the world for a lot of guys to go and earn money overseas. To make Muay Thai popular again, like in the 90s, that's a tough task because nowadays there's so many other things in society for people. Obviously there's Thai people like to gamble, and football, Western football, like English Premiership football. I mean, trying to get back at the numbers of people that are obsessed with that now is you know, going to take a miracle on its own because Thai people love football and they want to watch football. There's the internet. There's things like mobile phones have harmed Muay Thai because people would rather stay at home, call up and place a bet on the phone rather than pay 500 baht to go in the stadium. So, I mean, they did try and get around that by banning mobile phones in the stadium, so no one could let anyone know what's going on inside, but it's difficult. I mean, it definitely needs something done about the way the fights are scored and the influence of the gamblers. They need to try and make it so that, I don't know, the gamblers can accept like the more classic Muay Thai again, and also like make the fights more exciting again, rather than, they still, don't get me wrong, there's fights every night of the week, there's still some great fights out there. I mean it still keeps me going back time and time again, but they need to get the general Thai public involved again. I mean, things like Thai Fight are starting to do that a little bit. They're making Muay Thai more like a Western kind of, with the fanfare, more an entertainment package. But it still needs a little bit more than that to get people going back, you know, to the old days where people wanted to go just to watch the fights, not just purely to have a bet. Nowadays, the only Thai people to go and watch are ones that are going to bet. We need to get the general public interested in it again, and you know how they're going to do that, I'm not entirely sure myself. But it's not. I don't think it'll be a very easy task, to be honest. In the next 5 or 10 years, Muay Thai, I mean, it's difficult to really say 100% for sure what way it's going to go. I can see it's going to be a lot, you know, obviously they realise that it's becoming more of a global sport. So more and more people are interested in getting foreigners involved. Obviously there's a downside to that. Some people are in it just purely for the money. But others are, you know, are trying to get people. Last week, for instance, there was a French guy who won the Lumpini Championship. And he was kind of the first guy that's kind of done it the hard way. You know, he's done it by being based in Thailand, fighting in the stadiums regularly. I think maybe you're going to see more and more Westerners fighting now in the stadiums, and trying to cater more to attract Westerners into the sport, which they've got to do, basically, because otherwise it's going to, you know, it's going to really struggle just if they keep the gamblers involved. I'd like to see a shift from the gambling side of it with the way it's scored. Whether or not that will happen, it'll take a bit of work for sure. And obviously, I think with things like Thai Fight coming through, that's going to help the sport to get a bit more exposure overseas, and hopefully get a few more regular Thai people back involved. But you know, they've got to be careful the way they package that as well, though. I normally try to put across, you know, that it's not all about the bad guys, the gambling, the bad influences, you know. And also I try and put across the point that they should be proud that so many people around the world are interested and kind of love their culture and heritage, you know, and they should try and do their best to preserve that, you know, as best they can.